I'm Nicole Rideout Hartwick, and I'm so excited today to be here to talk about a very front of mind topic, video, with our Director of Communications and Digital Strategy. What better person to talk about video with, Becca Logue.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Thanks
I'm excited.
Being with me. Good. Well, obviously, ironically, we are doing a video to talk about video.
Yes.
And I would say, like, just to throw it out there, both highly uncomfortable at this moment.
Yeah, I think that you and I haven't done anything like this together before, or maybe not in a few years.
Which
so
is
this
actually
is the first.
It's like kind of putting our money where our mouth is, because we're trying to tell people, you need to do this, you need to do this, and like we're not going to deny that like it is a very uncomfortable thing.
Yes, the important thing is that we're doing it. We're together, and even if we're not 100% comfortable at first, the fact is that we're going to get product out there and a really great video at the end of this.
Yeah, exactly. Or not, right? You know, you can, as long as you're getting something out there, it's a good way to start.
Definitely.
But I'm glad we did this. What we are going to put together, obviously, after this, and this is more behind the scenes, we were going to put out something for people to plan for. Everything right now we're talking about is planning for 2023, planning for 2023. You've been helping me a lot, which we'll get into a little bit, but you and I were going to put together sort of like a 101 sheet, a one-sheeter for people, because what we realized is that everybody wants to do video, but they're uncomfortable. And what I think is really interesting is I put out a poll to our agents, and a lot of people answered, I do fine without video. And then the next question was, if you want to use it, why don't you? And a lot of them said, I'm not comfortable. So they're telling themselves, I don't want to do it, I don't care. And then it's, I'm not comfortable. Now, I'm not suggesting to go put a crazy amount of energy into it, and I truly believe we have some agents, and it totally depends on your level of experience, number of years in the business, number of years you believe you'll continue to be in the business. But anybody that thinks they're going to remain in the business full time, I think beyond the next 2 years, should really look into and get comfortable with video. And to lay out the groundwork for the perspective, I think, is I can distinctly remember when professional photos, when Sotheby's said, we will not take anything but professional photos, and people were beside themselves. That would be such a big quick turnaround time. I mean, slow turnaround time, you know, nothing that would never work. It would never stick. Now you would never ever think to not do anything but professional photos. And I think that that's the direction we're heading with video in one form or another. So what we want to do is, obviously you and I said, and we promised, and what we're going to do is we're going to put together a one sheet that people that want to get started and just say, how do I get started? Where do I start? Please simplify it for me. We're going to try to do that. We're going to put that together. We're going to send that out at the end of this.
Yes.
But today, what we're going to try to do without getting too technical is go over the high-level concept that we feel. So I want to let you introduce yourself and introduce yourself first, I guess, and then we'll kind of get into what you and I have been doing together.
Yeah, definitely. So I am our Director of Communications and Digital Strategy here at the company. Been with the company for about 4 years now. Started off almost exclusively doing PR and social. Now I do our publicity for the company, for our agents, for our listings, and then also oversee our overall digital efforts. And of course, a big one is video. It's so huge right now. Our marketing team has fully embraced it. The brand, which is great, has fully embraced it as well. So just thrilled to be a part of that movement and help our agents get on board.
Yeah, and things have become a little bit easier, I can say. I'm not very technical, but even I can like plug and play with some of the tools now and reels and things like that. I think some of it's just practice, but diving a little deeper into you and I working together on this, I've been saying that I wanted to do this for a long time. So I think this is my sort of first tip wrapped in. I've been saying that I want to bring value to agents and help everybody in the company, agents, staff, everybody kind of become that like conduit to like putting people out there, because I think what happened when we all got sort of disconnected is this opportunity for digital connection arose. Connecting digitally or touching people from a digital standpoint doesn't count. It doesn't stand in the place of, and it will never hold a flame to in-person interaction.
Right.
But it's something. And I've wanted to sort of help be that person that brings everybody together, right? In the sense of collaboration that our whole company is built on a collaborative environment. We want that culture, and we can have it digitally as well. And I think that that's what was the genesis for me wanting to do this. And I talked to you probably 2 months ago, and I said, look at all my ideas. And I honestly think we could have printed it at 100 pages. I had been writing ideas and ideas and ideas, but I was so nervous to start. I couldn't get out of my own way. And I think now I realized today when I was leaving, I was a disaster, putting makeup on Staro Drive. Like, I was looking at my nails just 2 seconds ago and I'm like, oh my God, like, but that's the thing, like you can't, never is a good time, right? Like if you're gonna wait till a good time, have you ever heard anybody be like, I'm so glad I waited 2 years to do this?
Never. It's always the opposite. It's just, I wish I started sooner.
And it's like, everyone knows, like, I just like that we started with, like, we're uncomfortable. Everyone knows that, like, video is a little new for people. If someone's judging you, that's their own problem, right? They have their own issues to kind of suss out, but you are getting out there. And what I was trying to boil it down to was, I think what got me started was you. So thank you for that. And I want you to kind of share how you helped me get started. But B, it was that I felt like we could add value. And if you feel like you can add value, you stop caring about like what you look like or what it might be. And that doesn't mean you have to be the one in front of the video, which we'll get into, right? You don't have to be in front of video. You definitely don't have to be dancing. We don't recommend any of that.
Number one misconception. It's not to sell dancing on Reels and TikTok.
Please don't. It's not very Sotheby's. But what we do want is for you to feel like you're bringing value, because the second that you feel like you're bringing value, you really don't care. You don't care if you throw your makeup on drive. You don't care if you need a manicure or whatever it might be. You get over the sound of your own voice, even though it's not great. Someone said recently, and I laughed, if you don't like what you look like on video, sorry, that's what you look like. Like,
I love
that. Get over it.
Yeah,
it's just, and it is what it is. So I think to dive in today, I think we wanted to talk about just like, keep it as simple as possible. What's in front of you and how do you use it?
Yeah, so the amazing thing is that it's surprising how quickly the algorithm and how fast has changed, how quickly the algorithm has changed on platforms like Instagram, and how they continue to roll out these new features like Reels. When something like that comes out, I think it's super daunting to people. And I think their focus is immediately, how do I produce this video? How do I look the part? How do I make sure I know how to use this feature or my iPhone to begin with? The biggest thing is, how do you start? The first thing that you really need is a phone, a smartphone, and just to start getting some of your ideas on paper. That's how you and I began. I think outlining your messages, a few different priorities you have going into the upcoming month, whether it's spotlighting a handful of listings, whether it's connecting with a certain audience, whether it's sharing a few thoughtful tips you have going into a certain market. Identify what those goals are up front, jot some notes down, and look at the platforms such as Instagram Reels. Look at that just simply as the medium that you're using to get that message out there. Just as if you were talking to a client, just as if you were posting a photo on social media if you're accustomed to doing that. Look at your ideas and your audience and your goal as the priority, and then the video can come second. I promise you it's not as daunting to produce at the end of the day. You can pick up a video and have something produced in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to outsource everything. And of course, there's incredible companies that you can outsource to that we would love to recommend. But also, a lot of people have, and I hate to generalize, but maybe a younger person in their life who's super comfortable with Reels, that maybe you have a son or a daughter that like you could, pay a little bit per reel or whatever it might be, that they can do it in 2 minutes. And we have to think about our time that way, right? If it's going to take you 2 hours and it would take somebody else 20 minutes, then you can think about that. But we don't have to get into that technical piece to take it back a step. The things I've changed, which I've made this transition very recently. In fact, I'm making it right now. Like, it's not even really out there yet. I stopped taking pictures and started taking videos. And that actually was because of my son. I had a baby last year, and I started to realize, like, as he was getting bigger, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually very much prefer to see like these little videos. I saw someone give a tip, and this is totally sidebar, but to just like put the phone out when you don't like what you look like, and you're never gonna share this anywhere, but like, and just like video your random moments, because like that's just something that we have an opportunity to do because we have the phones all the time and because they could shoot such high quality videos. And I started to really love those. And now for work wise, I just put my video on instead of a camera when I walk into a broker open, when I do something. And I think that is just a good habit, right? Document what you're doing. Yes. So people think, who am I even talking to? What value am I even adding? Don't even worry about that. Document your day. Start with that. Just do the videos. You might never use them, right? Or organize them in some fashion, or don't. But start documenting, start taking that. Take it one step further too. I think what my ideas note in my phone was just me saying, I felt that way. I mean, I'm very clear on like who I want to help, right? It's our agents. I really want to make sure that like I'm bringing value to them, whether it's through you or through anybody that can come on here and say something that might help somebody with a problem that they're having. Figure out who that is or what that looks like for you, right? And I know that most of the time for agents, that's going to be their clients, but like let's dive a little deeper. Who are your clients? What problems are they facing? What problems are you solving for them? The problems you solve for your clients every day, they're so like low level for you that you don't realize that like talking about that or documenting that in some form might help 10 people in the next month if you put it out there to not do that. It also positions you as the expert. And we forget in our day-to-day, I mean, our company alone, I know our company like the back of our hand. I know our offerings. I know everyone that works here. And like the support is something that really makes us stand out in the marketplace. That's something I realized, and it was a huge genesis for this, was I might know that, but especially newer agents and sometimes even more experienced agents, they are so busy, they need the reminders, they need to know what we're offering, things have changed, things like that. So knowing that like something that might seem super simple to you is a value add. And again, when you're doing a value add, when you're giving value, you do not think about what do I look like? You really don't. You obviously don't want to be in your pajamas, but I think that that's just a good thing to sort of like keep in the back of your mind. And I also think in terms of your toolbox, like you said, reels are very daunting, but for agents right now, listings aren't going to sell as quickly. We know that, right? We're going to have to dig a little deeper into our toolbox. We're going to have to sharpen some of the tools. And that might look like a tool that's daunting that we might need to use, right? That sellers are going to look for. People are finding agents online that look like they're taking that extra step, making those property videos that are interesting or creative, getting a lot of hits on them and think, maybe I should use that person because I'm gonna get a lot of exposure. Whether that's right or wrong, it's happening. So I think thinking through, maybe looking at our toolbox and let's assess our tools. You might say that I'm listening to this from this specific market, nobody cares about that, and that's not, so that's okay. But let's look at it because there might be tools that you're spending time on that you could let go of. Or free up time or money or resources to then pivot into something that might be more effective at the moment. And now is just a really good time to look at that, I think. So I think it's something that's important. So do you have any tips on just sort of like how to assess and kind of look? Because I know now people are going to have to dig a little bit deeper with their listings and promoting themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can go into tips. I think one of the number one takeaways here is that in this shifting market, sellers are looking to work with agents that can get a leg up in their market, that can market their listings super creatively, because right now when listings aren't flying off the market everywhere, we need to be looking at strategies to market them a little bit more creatively and effectively. You have your property photos down, you're getting professional video done, that's fantastic. You're kind of pulling out all the typical stops that you would for a listing. Are you doing reels? Are you making a video about your property? Whether you're in it or not, you never have to be in the video yourself. But that's something that not everyone is doing. And I think if you can tap into that audience that gravitates towards video on social media, you can speak directly to them, you can showcase your listing in a really different light than other agents otherwise are. Now's the time to do that. I think people might miss, if this market, we're in the midst of a shift. I think if things shift again later on, I think now's the time that they'll look back and wish that they could tell their seller, I'm going to put this on Instagram Reels and see what the audience is like. I've heard from agents that have done Reels and they just tell me their sellers so greatly appreciate it because, again, the algorithm on Instagram really prioritizes video. So off the bat, I almost guarantee you you're going to get a much more significant number of views than you would on a photo of your listing or just some other typical standard marketing piece that you do for it. So number one, I think if you have your iPhone and you have an open house tomorrow or you're visiting your listing in the morning, make sure you capture some really, really great video shots. Just using your iPhone doesn't even have to be within the Instagram app. If you just know how to use your video feature on your phone and your camera roll, capture some video, you can always upload them to Instagram Reels later. So just get the video captured and then you can focus on the nitty-gritty editing later on. That's probably my number one tip. I think the time to start really is now.
And most all of you have professional video happening. So take that, repurpose that. There's different ways we could do that. We'll get into that technical piece on the kind of 101 sheet that we're going to send out, but use what is already at your fingertips.
And also, don't get hung up again on how you sound. If you mess up, you can always go back and do it again later. Again, if it's becoming super time consuming, ask your child or a friend to help you if they are going to be super quick with it, or even to show you how to use something. But don't get hung up on the details. It's your first time. cut yourself some slack. I promise you, if you are just honest with your followers or whoever's viewing your videos, I'm just getting into this, that's enough. I think cut yourself some slack and just get started, and you will find the more you do it, you'll get more comfortable along the way. Just make that first video.
And you're a human, you can mess up. Things don't have to be perfect.
People like that. I think what's great too, if you are comfortable speaking with your consumer via video, people want to hear from you. I think when you look at such a vast platform like Instagram, there's a billion real estate agents on there. I tend to gravitate towards the ones who are using video and who have some personality, or even are just showcasing a really beautiful property and they're not even in it. Those are the ones I gravitate to. Those are the ones that I think are doing something interesting, and even if they're not fully comfortable, trying something new, especially when the time to do that is now, because we need to be marketing our properties and ourselves, our brands and our businesses more creatively.
Yeah, I think one thing to just leave you with, and if you really think about it, I was thinking about this, we were on the market for a house over the last 12 months, and if somebody was in one of the towns that I was in, whether it was an agent with us or not, right, and they were really consistent with shooting, say, videos of properties that were maybe coming on the market, or teasing out videos, or maybe talking about the market, talking about things that are going on in the market. I don't care what they're wearing. I don't care if they have 3 eyeballs. I just want the information that they're giving me, and I'm going to stay consistent with watching that because that's a market I'm interested in. So that's something to keep into perspective. Put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're trying to bring value to. When you have your moment of, I can't start yet, it's not perfect, and realize that person is not looking at what you're wearing. They're not really listening to that you just, maybe messed that word up or paused too long. They want to know about the thing that you're telling them about. And so focus on that. Focus on the value you're delivering. And we'll get into the technical piece with everybody. But I think the big takeaway is we're going to try to put together a one-pager to try to make it as simple as possible for you. Stay consistent, do one thing at a time, and really just realize people want to see you, they want to connect with you. We're all craving authenticity and connection. And you can't be authentic if you're too perfect and too ready. And so it's actually a reason to just get going now
if you're
and
too
use the tool.
Pre-planned, it doesn't come across authentic. That's what professional, if you have a team of like 10 people helping you do a video like that, there's a time and place for a scripted conversation or a scripted piece of dialogue. Or some of your best videos, I think, are in your car. Like on the way to a meeting. You're in the car, you have an idea, it comes across, I think, even more valuable if you're shooting from the hip and just sharing with your followers what they need to know now. Especially if it's time sensitive. You want your followers to get this information ASAP, and you don't have time to hire an entire production company to do that.
Which is just the point of these tools are a great supplement to helping us get get the word out there. At times that we, rewind 10 years, we didn't have that opportunity. We'd have an idea, we'd have to figure out how to go to a meeting and tell people about it, which we want to do that too, but this is a great supplement. So right now you can get the word out. Nobody cares what you're wearing.
And finally also, rest assured that this is going to be around for the foreseeable future. It's not like you're investing time in something that is going to disintegrate and no longer be popular or something that consumers are craving. Consumers are going to want video, as far as I know, for quite a while. So invest your time in that now. Mailers will be around forever. You can certainly implement that alongside your video creativity, but now's the time for video, and you're not wasting your time because people are going to want it for a long time.
So get comfortable now, really, is what it is. And the last thing is, don't chase the trends to that point.
Do not chase the trends.
You don't have to go viral. That's really not going to, for what we're trying to accomplish, that's not necessarily, and honestly for what most people are trying to accomplish, unless your goal is to go viral for whatever reason that might be. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to do quality content, add value, and get that quality audience to engage with you and see so don't worry about the number of likes and don't worry about the trends. Keep it simple and put the information out there that's useful information. Is what we're trying
quality over quantity, especially at first. You want to be reaching the right audience, even if it's just a few, rather than the largest audience ever, go viral and then get a bunch of views that aren't necessarily interested in what you're talking about or what you're selling.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I have seen, and probably shouldn't even talk about this, but a lot of what goes viral, right? This is an expensive city. People are not happy about the cost of housing right now, right? And we don't need to get into that, but that's most of what you're getting for comments. When you go viral, those aren't buyers, right? I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's okay. It's out on the.
It'll happen.
Sure, you don't have to freak out, but just know that doesn't have to be the goal. The goal needs to be that you hit the buyers. But just think about that. Think about keeping it simple and keeping it quality versus quantity. And I think that if we stop thinking about that big, vast landscape of things going viral and what's on the internet, just think about like your day-to-day client interactions on a social network.
Yeah, tell your clients that. If, I feel like clients or sellers might, if you post a video about their property, they're going to want to have 1 billion views on it and might ask you, why isn't this going viral, or why is no one looking at this? But make sure you communicate. It's about who's looking at it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep up with these, and we'll try to get more views as we go, and hopefully some leads, and we'll see what goes from there, even just some awareness of your listing. So be honest with your sellers and your clients about that too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Becca. You're an incredible resource for everyone. You've been so helpful for me. Please, if you need anything in terms of video, I know that Becca is so busy, but she can help you strategize, especially if you've gotten it off the ground and you want to try to help with that or get help with that strategy. We're here for you to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you for listening, and if you want to get started with video and you'd like to download the 1-pager that we made, you can download that from the description on the YouTube channel here, or if you are an agent at Gibson Sotheby's International Realty, you have received that in your email.